Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I am super excited to have you here. I want you all to feel the energy and breathe with me as I thank you for allowing me into your lives, into your minds, and into your hearts. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath and release. Nice deep breath and release. Today's day 2 of grace. Now, those of you that haven't had a chance to watch day 1, I ask you to go back and either in the links to the replays or in the links that are in the Facebook group, please go back and take the time to watch day 1 because every day of this 3-day workshop compounds on what we're covering. So it's super important that we take in as much as we can, but we also process as much as we can, right? So what I wanted to share today is I want to ask you guys, are you ready to stop just not feeling good enough and taking shit personally? I want to hear in the chat, or if you're watching this on the replay, or if you're on YouTube, wherever you are watching this workshop, give me some feedback. Are you ready to stop taking shit personally? Now, when one of my mentors said this to me years ago, I got really annoyed at it. And I thought, what does that freaking mean? Because I wasn't where I am today. So it offended me because I was an ego. So again, I just want to remind you guys, I know I gave you guys a workbook that you can download. And in the workbook, it is simply a guide. It is not word for word what I'm teaching because I will share with you, I teach my workshops intuitively. So in the scheme of keeping in my integrity and making sure that I honor my soul, I listen to downloads coming to me intuitively, and that is how I adjust and show up in my free workshops, right? I've tried to fit into the box many years ago when I was mentored and told you to do things a certain way, and it didn't work for me because I didn't get the results, and neither did my clients. So the workbook is for you to jot down notes. It's for you to put your feelings down, anything that resonates as I go through it. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So in today's workshop, I want to share with you that something that was mind blowing to me. And that was that everything that happens to us, you are the solution, you are the problem, and life is happening to you. It's happening through you. Again, the first time I heard this, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Let me explain what these things all mean to you. So first of all, I want to thank you for letting me love you. Thank you for letting me create this space of safety, of truth, and of belonging. Because in the journey of growing, especially as a woman, in this evolution of really feeling good enough, a lot of times we don't feel like we belong, we don't feel safe, and we don't feel like anyone's really listening to us, right? I know this is a common thread because working with hundreds of women up to eight-figure entrepreneurs, still not feeling good enough. And what I'm going to share with you today is going to blow your mind, and it's going to take a little bit of time for you to actually digest it because it is so freaking mind-blowing. So it's all about the evolution of your identity. Now, I want you guys to hear me out. You were born perfectly enough and whole. But what one of my mentors taught me, you didn't have a chance. You had no chance to be good enough because immediately, the minute we were born, we were exposed to other people's beliefs, of the world outside of us, our parents, our caregivers. Again, we're not blaming anyone. Okay. We don't want to blame anyone because the blame game doesn't get us anywhere. But the moment I realized that when I was born, that the odds were stacked against me. So we all came out into this human experience. Because I want to remind you guys, regardless, this is not about religion, this is about energy and science, right? Regardless of what your beliefs are, we're all energetic beings having a human experience. It's science, right? We're atoms, 99.99, I don't know what the hell it is. And again, this is about us being spiritual beings having a human experience. So when we came into the human world, right, the minute we were born, everything was thrown at us, but we didn't have a chance at realizing or remembering we were good enough because everything was through our conscious mind, right? Our subconscious mind is the programming that we developed. And did you know scientifically, I didn't know this till my mentor taught me this. We don't have that until we're like 7, 8 years old. So everything that happened to us before 7 years old, we made it be about us. And I want you guys to just take a deep breath right now. And I want you to really assimilate what I'm saying to you. Everything that happened to us before the age of 8, we made it about us. If our parents were unhappy, we made it about us. If our moms were crying, we made it about us. If our parents were fighting, we made it about us. If there was turmoil in our household, we made it about us. If someone didn't invite us to their birthday party in kindergarten, we made it about us. It became that we started to make everything about us and take the blame because we weren't enough and we caused this. But the truth is, none of that's fucking true. None of that is true. But this is where we have to shift our identity. And we do this through modalities. We started yesterday through the clearing of the stories. Today, I'm going to show you something else that you can do every single day to help you shift and work through that. So when we actually realize that the only problem we have is being human, we allow our humanness to distract us and make us feel not good enough. Because if we go back to the wholeness that we are, we would never feel these things. So the truth is, it's really not real, even though it feels like shit. Now, you might be saying, Maria, what are you talking about? Like, you're full of shit. You're blowing smoke on my ass. Now, I'm coming to you guys because this is the journey I took. I did the healing work. So the healing work and healing the wounds is what brings you to the place where you're not biologically being triggered anymore, where you're not biologically feeling like bad about shit. I'll tell you a quick story. The first time I had a live workshop, I spent a lot of money on a mentor that taught me a certain way of doing live events, right? A certain way of doing marketing events. So the first time I did it, I was so obsessed with achieving goals, so obsessed with being the best, so obsessed with not being good enough, proving all these invisible stories that really weren't real, but they were real to me, that I was riddled with anxiety because what would people think if no one showed up? What would people think if no one came to this live workshop? What would people think? I became obsessed with what the people would think because that's what I was taught. Don't do this, the people, the people, the people. But that was my upbringing. So those were my stories. When I started to work on myself and process these things and release the stories that weren't real and realize that none of it was true, that what people said or thought of me was none of my business. And I shifted wanting an applause because that's really painful too. Anything you do that you want the applause or the recognition or the approval is out of alignment. The only person that has to approve of you is you. Now, this takes practice, this takes time. It's like anything else. Learned habits take time to dismantle. So I want you to remember that we are energetically spiritual beings having a human experience, right? And when you realize that you are in charge of how you feel, how you show up, what's going to happen to you every day, your life will change. So I want you to, for 1 second, say, I'm going to fuck the noise. Fuck the people that are, we've been worried about what they're going to say. Screw the fear. I'm the director. And this bullshit of not feeling good enough has got to stop because the only person that it is robbing is you. It's your biological system keeping you safe. See, when we're born, our biology, I'm giving you a little science lesson here real quick so it makes sense. Our bodies are meant to keep us safe. So anything that we do that's outside of the norm is going to be like red flag, red flag, red flag. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Because that's the ego keeping you physically safe, right? It's survival mode. But if you stay in survival mode, you're never going to expand to the brilliance that you desire, to the happiness, to the love, to the relationships, to the business, to expanding. You're never going to get there if you keep allowing survival mode. Now, I want you to take a deep breath because I know this is triggering you. Because you're like, yeah, that sounds easy to you, Maria. But what does that mean to me? So get back in your body and ground yourself. Your purpose in this life is to go within and heal yourself. You are not your mother's trauma. You are not your father's trauma. You're not your family's trauma. You're not the horrible things that happened to you maybe as a kid. And I know a lot of us go through terrible things, different situations, but we can't stay there because staying there keeps us in not enoughness. And we'll keep doing the same thing over and over till we die. I had to stop the madness and say, this is not true of me. I can be a millionaire. I can be a hairdresser and make 7 figures. I can be a hairdresser and start an online business. I can be 55 and have a YouTube channel, podcast. I'm just making examples of my own bullshit. Because a lot of people are afraid to talk about their own bullshit. The first time I was featured in a big publication, I was like shitting my pants. You know why? What are my peers going to think? I'm not good enough. I'm not like so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so that I always looked up to. But you know what I realized? No one's any better than anybody else because we're all in the same boat, just in different parts of it. Right? And the first time doing anything is the first for anyone. So maybe you're the first in your family to get divorced. Hello, that was me. Maybe you're the first in your family to start a business. Hello, that was me. Maybe you're the first in your family to get remarried. Hello, that was me. Maybe you're the first to do a lot of things. So being the first is scary. But being the first is the most powerful transition there is in this world because you are actually making changes. So I want to just share with you the difference because I know a lot of people come to work with me and they're like confused when they want to heal and not, stop feeling good enough. And it comes down to the differences. So emotional intelligence, okay, these are just a few little examples of what emotional intelligence is: listening in silence and reading the room. You're picking up the outside energies. Example, you go into a room, you're meeting new people. It's listening and paying attention with your whole soul and not thinking about what you're going to say, not thinking about how you're going to overpower the conversation. That's emotional intelligence. Intuition is the inner light and inner knowing of your soul. They're different. So your intuition comes from inside. It's your spirit. It's your higher self. It's your connection to God, energy, source, whatever you believe in, whatever large source or powerful light you believe in, that's what your spirit's connected to. And that's your intuition. So intuition is all knowing, never wrong, never in ego, never in fear. You ever go to make a right turn? You're going to work, driving to work, let's say, you always go the same way, and all of a sudden you get this nudge, like someone's talking to you in your ear or feeling, go the other way. No explanation, right? You do it. Or you meet someone and you intuitively, in your gut, in your soul, you feel like something's not right. That's your intuition. And that's your GPS that we all have available to us 24/7 to tap into our answers. But what is happening, guys, is there's so much outer noise coming at us, like a million Nerf bullets. My kids, when they were young, had Nerf guns. So if we're letting all these Nerf bullets that are like sponge come at us, social media, the phone, the people calling you, the news, the world's going to end, we're going to blow up, all kinds of bullshit. You'll lose your fucking mind because all these bullets are coming at you. And what happens is it causes this muck. See my hands, like this muck, and you can't listen to your intuition. Our intuition is loud, clear, and 100% on. And it's never going to guide you wrong. And the more you do it, it's like working out. If I want to tone my arms, which I need to do soon, I would be working out with, like, at the gym, right? I'd be working out to tighten up my arms. Intuition's the same. The more you listen, the more you tap in. How do you tap into intuition real quick? Breathing, sitting quietly, disconnecting from all tech, walking outside barefoot, hugging a tree, if you're into that, sitting on the sand, putting your feet in some salt water if you're near it. Just being in nature for 5 minutes in the quiet will help you reconnect with your intuition. And talking to yourself. Like, you see what I'm doing? It's all divine guidance, straight through. The light goes right through your core soul. So with our emotional intelligence, that's a God-given gift, or whoever you believe gave it to you. Our intuition, we're all born with it. We don't need to fix anything. This is the shocker. There's nothing fucking wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're whole. This, when I learned this, I'm like, wait a minute. Are you freaking kidding me? I've been on a mission to fix myself for 30 something years, maybe longer, maybe 40 years. Because I'm 55, so do the math. I've been on a mission forever. When I realized there's nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with me is nothing. It's other people's stories that were pasted into my subconscious. My mom's story, my dad's story, my kid's story, my uncle's story, whoever. Your teacher's story, an old employer's story, first lady I work with who told me I was never going to amount to anything. Like, what? Other people's stories. And just like it's other people's stories, it's other people's bullshit, which is none of your business, right? So think about how powerful this is. There is nothing to fix here. So personal development Personal growth, personal evolution to me is just all about becoming more expansive and allowing yourself to be the brilliant, beautiful soul that you are. Be careful of the jargon online, in social media. There's a lot of people offering quick fixes of bullshit. There's nothing wrong with you. You are whole. You simply have to shift what you believe about yourself and realize that you are not broken, that you are whole and perfect. And you need to be attached to nothing because it's all not real. So I'm going to walk you through. This is an exercise I personally use daily. I use it on myself. I've taught this to my children. And a lot of my clients that come through my programs, the Brilliant Business Reinvention, I think I mentioned it, grace is a part of that. It's a section because without this work, we can't be great leaders. Without this work, we're going to hold on to all these wounds. And by doing this work, I realized we all need to work on this stuff because we need to come to the realization that we are whole. So a great way to process means work, let it work through your body. So imagine like a beam of light going into your head and coming down, and it's going to go through your body and shoot out of your feet. That's what processing emotions mean. Now, if you're anything like me, I got backhanded and told not to cry. I'll give you something to cry about. I've had plenty of like fat lips, hair pulled. Again, I'm not bashing my mother in this video or like bad mouthing. That was what they did. You know, just boom. My mother was Italian immigrant. Shut the fuck up. Boom. She didn't say fuck, but you know, it was like no questions asked. You just didn't peep, and everyone else mattered more than you. So of course, my mindset was like, okay, I have to be strong. I can't cry. I can't like show emotion. So what happened is stuff the emotion. So I'm going to walk you through. And guys, if you're watching the replay, watch this more than once and do this because this is an exercise, but I want you to be seated. I want you to be comfortable because it's going to move stuff through you. Now, this is a form of tapping. There's a lot of different ways to do this. One isn't right or wrong, or, you know, again, each practitioner can tweak it. This is my take on it. And I get downloads from energetic spirits of light, angels. I'm really big and connected with the angels. Doesn't mean you have to be. This is just what resonates with me. You can be connected to whatever feels good to you. So I'm going to walk you through. I want you to watch what I'm going to do. Take your hand, right? And your fingers. And we're going to start. This is called a tapping technique to move pain, wounds, and old subconscious programming out of your body. You can do this once or twice a day, and you will adapt it. I'm going to say what I need to process, like something that's familiar to me. I'm just going to allow my intuition to speak without judgment. You say whatever resonates with you. I'm going to keep it generic, but you can tweak the words to make sure you truly get what you need out of this. Okay, so take your hand and you're going to start tapping on the flesh like this. I can't believe that all these years I had to feel like I'm not fucking good enough. Okay, watch what I'm doing. Next part, you're going to come up to here. It's unbelievable that my parents made me feel like shit. This was not about me. Why did they make me feel like shit like this? Oh my God, then I married a fucking loser. Like, I can't believe that marrying him was just as bad as being at my house. I can't stand this. I can't believe I'm 55 and I'm still thinking about this shit. When the fuck is this fucking these thoughts gonna go away? I thought I worked on all this crap. I realized that this isn't about me. But you know what? It still bothers me sometimes. What the fuck is wrong with me? I did so much healing work, and I can't believe that I'm still feeling this crap. I'm really hard on myself sometimes. And then when I teach other people to feel good about themselves, I realize that I have to keep working on myself because it's a process. But you know what I'm starting to realize? That it isn't about me and that I am enough. And I'm a beautiful person. And it's okay. It's okay. You know what? Today, I'm going to accept that I'm enough. Actually, I'm going to fucking accept that I was born plenty. I was born whole. And that all this is just fucking illusional bullshit. And it was other people's stories. And that, you know what? I like cursing. There's nothing wrong with that because it makes me feel good. And that I am whole and I am worthy. And honestly, what anyone else thinks of me is really none of my business, right? Because that's their story. Today, I'm going to take my true self. I'm just going to be nice to myself. And I'm going to let go of everything that has been holding me back and making me feel not good enough. I'm going to go on that podcast that I was too afraid to go on. I'm going to invite those people to my event that maybe might say no, but maybe they'll say yes. I'm going to not care that I'm a size 16 and not a size 2. I'm going to own the brilliance that talking about spirituality and business is what I am. Oh, I feel so much better. That tightness in my chest went away now. I am enough. I've always been enough. I can't wait to celebrate myself later. I am enough. Now, some of you might feel lightheaded when you do this because it happens to me sometimes. It's okay, just breathe. So, this tapping process, now I just let whatever came up flow for me. There's no scripting. So, I don't even know what I just said because when you are in flow, again, in flow with your spirit and your energy, if you ask me what I just tapped out, I might look at the replay later and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. But you know what? That's your truth. And you cannot filter your truth. And I'm here today to show you my vulnerability, to show you that it's okay to let out your truth. It's okay to let out the dysfunction that was nothing to do with you. It's okay to let out the bullshit that maybe made you think all these things, the family dysfunction, the work dysfunction. Guys, I don't like to talk about the past because it's the past. But when you do these exercises and release them, see, you're not just talking about it and complaining. So when people come to work to me, they're like, Maria, I don't understand. How did you get through this? How did you get from where you were to where you are today? From total loss and chaos. I did this type of work, guys, on myself. And you see, when you're growing as a person and you're evolving, there's going to be moments, and I want you guys to pay attention to this because it's going to trigger you. There's going to be moments that you're going to feel lonely because when you grow and evolve, some people that aren't growing with you may fall away from you in your life. And it hurts because you're usually the people that you think should have been supporting you. But that's just because they're on their journey. And I'm going to show you what one of my healers, Norma, taught me this. Norma said, this is you, and this is your friend, sister, coworker, partner, husband, whatever. You're evolving. You're not getting better than them, but you're doing the work and you're healing. You're releasing like we just did. You're evolving and you're realizing that you were born whole and good enough, but they're not. They're like, oh, can you guys see eye to eye? Can they support you? Probably not. So what do? You can tilt slightly and just meet them where they're at and just love them from a distance. They may fall away from your life like a dry leaf because they're not capable of being there for you. And that's part of the evolution. That's the hardest part, in my opinion, because relationships may change, partnerships may change, marriages may change. And we just have to be mindful that you can still love people from a distance. You can still love them and send them good love and light and energy. But ultimately, you're not here. You weren't born to fix anyone else. So I'm not going to sit here and preach to you guys. I'm here to share with you. I'm here to teach you. So take the exercises from today. And I want you to write down, when you have time, go back later. I am whole. So I accept or can do whatever. I'll make a statement today. I am whole. So I accept that I can hit $1 million as an online coaching consultant, changing people's fucking lives from behind the chair to going online. What? You know what? That was scary for me. It took me many months of doing the work to be able to say that because I had to overcome limiting mindsets. So what do you need $1 million for? Well, that's never going to happen. Who the hell's going to listen to you? That's ridiculous. What? You're too old. Many stories, but I want you guys to understand that you are the driver, the director, and you make the choice. Like just when you realize that it's just stories and that you can tap them out, go back and watch this video again. You tap out that bullshit. I tap twice a day. Sometimes I'm really angry and pissed off and I curse a lot because that's what I gotta do. Sometimes I'm just like, I just have gratitude. Whatever comes up. And the key to all this is no judgment and put down the invisible bat. So for today, guys, I think I went over a little bit on the time and I apologize, but your body will inform you if you're not in alignment. We were taught that your mind controls your body. That's not what I found. My body controls my mind. So when I start to feel something in my body physically, that's a red flag to go within. What do I need to heal? Where am I not being truthful to my soul? It all works out, guys. We're only here one time. At least that's what I know. And we're here to be happy. We're not here to be miserable. We're not here to please everyone else. If you can't be happy, that's an inside job. And the first thing you have to do is accept that you're whole and stop listening to stories and do the work every day. I'm not going to lie to you and say it's like this. No, you got to do the work. You got to do the things I've taught you. And, there's a lot of other things, a lot of other amazing healers and therapists and all kinds of different people teach. I'm here to tell you, you are capable, you're whole, and you're enough. So I want to welcome you into my world. Okay.